We're here at New Creation Christian Fellowship, where on January the 7th, 2017, there will be a town hall discussion about gun violence in our community. Joining us will be faith leaders as well as community leaders. I'll be interviewing Lisa Epstein. She is the chapter state lead for Moms Demand Action for Gun Sense in America, along with Eric Moore, who's president of a local fraternity here. They'll come together and have this important discussion. It's open to the public and it's free to get in. So join me as we have a conversation with these two community leaders about gun violence and the faith community. Thank you so much for joining us for Black Churches in Texas. I'm your host, Kim Anderson. With us today is Lisa Epstein. She is the state chapter lead for Moms Demand Action for Gun Sense in America. Thank you so much for joining us, Lisa.
Thank you.
Tell us more about Moms Demand Action for Gun Sense in America.
Moms Demand Action was founded 4 years ago after the Sandy Hook massacre. There was mom, Shannon Watts, and she was looking for an organization to join because as a mother, of course, it was just heart-wrenching what happened in Sandy Hook. And she didn't find one, so she started one on her own. And here we are 4 years later, and we have over 3.5 million members nationwide. We have a chapter in every state. And we are a pragmatic group. We are pro-Second Amendment, but we also believe that in order to prevent gun violence in America, there needs to be regulations. We shouldn't have unfettered access to guns, and we need to keep guns out of the hands of dangerous people.
Right. So tell us some of the work that you guys are doing.
Well, we're working really hard to curb the gun violence in America. Of course, in America, unfortunately, you're 25 times more likely to be killed than in other developed nations. So we have a lot of work to do here in America. Over 33,000 people die every year by guns. And we're working through the culture and through the legislation. There's a lot that we can do in the legislature to help curb gun violence and pass laws that are sensible. Reform laws such as requiring background checks on all gun sales. And just by requiring background checks, we can curb gun violence against women, violence against police officers, and gun violence deaths across the board.
Right.
And so we work with our legislators. We're a voice of reason here in Texas. There are a few radical legislators here in Texas who would like to give unfettered access to guns and have guns everywhere, even in elementary schools.
Wow,
and so we just need to speak up and raise our voices because that access and exposure to guns is what leads to more gun deaths, unfortunately.
Right, yes. Now tell us, how did you get involved with wanting to join together with the Black community, especially the faith community?
Well, the Black community, unfortunately, is disproportionately impacted by gun violence in America. A Black man is 10 times more likely to die by gun than white men. So it's so important that we reach out to the Black community and work to get their voices raised to help get better gun laws passed in Texas. And the faith community, if people of faith, they care about all God's creations. And so when somebody dies senselessly of gun violence, that impacts anybody of faith who cares and who prays to God. And the next step after praying, of course, is action and working to help prevent others from dying from senseless gun violence.
Right. We have with us Eric Moore. Tell us your fraternity.
So I am with Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated. I'm the chapter president of the Delta Rho Lambda chapter here in San Antonio.
Okay, welcome, Eric. Thank you so much for joining us. Now, how did your fraternity get involved with Moms Demand Action?
Well, back, I think it was in June, Lisa, Moms Demand Action held a town hall, and they had Congressman Lloyd Doggett attend. And so we attended, and I met Lisa, and during that time, we had a lot of police shootings, and then also shootings of unarmed Black men. And so we decided to do something. So in July, we held a town hall here in New Creation, and our fraternal brother, Bishop David Copeland, allowed us to have it here, and we invited Lisa to be one of the panelists.
All right, awesome. Tell us some of the works that your fraternity does in the community of San Antonio.
We do a lot. We always try to give back and help out the community. So we have our annual book bag drive where we purchase book bags, stuff them with supplies, and give them to lower income families. We have our annual toy dance where we have a dinner, nice gala event. We raise money, and then in December we give out toys to New Kids on the Block, Eastside Boys and Girls Club, various churches and families, organizations. We have our annual MLK Scholarship Breakfast coming up where we have a dynamic speaker come in, we raise money, and then give out scholarships later in the year. Of course, we're starting to do more town halls, become more politically engaged, and how we can make a difference.
Right. So with this collaborative effort of Moms Demand Action for Gun Sense in America and your fraternity, what are your hopes after this discussion for this town hall that you guys are putting together and organizing?
I think it's a great question. The first thing we just need to point out and recognize the issue and have explain to everybody what's going on and really the epidemic happening in the Black community. Because gun violence is terrible, but then coupled with other things happening in our community, mass incarceration and so on and so forth, it's really, really impacting it in a negative way. So we first want to identify the issues. Secondly, we want to have leaders, political leaders, spiritual leaders, community leaders up here to talk about those issues, raise awareness, and then we can identify actionable steps. What can we do on the local level, state level, federal level to make a difference?
That's right. Well, you know what? I want to thank both of you for getting organized in this, because this is going to be a wonderful discussion that the community needs to get involved with. So Eric and Lisa, thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you, Kim.
And we want to see you guys come out and be a part of the discussion. Gun violence in America is a serious topic, and we want to be able to have this discussion and get the community come out. So Dream Week is 2 weeks of events in and around San Antonio leading up to the Martin Luther King March, one of the largest marches in the nation. And it'll be January 7th from 4 to 6 p.m. here at New Creation Fellowship. Thank you so much for joining us. Until next time. I'm your host, Kim Anderson.